For ERA, opponent's average 168 last time out. Outstanding again, snapped a 9-game losing streak against the Braves, gave up just 2 hits and 8 dominant innings of work, struck out a season-high 8, walked nobody through 107 pitches, 72 of those for strikes. So 2-seam fastball, 4-seam fastball, slider curve change is what the Tigers will see tonight from Jordan Zimmerman. Set the defense for the Nationals behind Jordan. Tyler Moore getting the start again in left field tonight. Jason Worth with a night off. Denard Span in center. Bryce Harper in right. Desmond Zimmerman on the left side. Espinoza LaRoche on the right side. And Kurt Suzuki doing the catching.
Well, Denard Span a little beat up lately, but he's hitting .278 in that leadoff spot, on base percentage of .346. He knows all about playing against these Tigers in the same division for a number of years with Minnesota. Behind the plate, 15-year veteran Hunter Wendelstedt. First base, the 25-year crew chief Jerry Lane. Alan Porter, 3rd year at second, 15th year for Greg Gibson at third base. Austin Jackson, talented 26-year-old outfielder, steps in. Finally underway, strike one at 8:02.
Let's play ball.
Austin Jackson hitting .288. He jacks one to right field, to his right. Bryce Harper got a good jump. That ball hit extremely hard. That's a leadoff guy who's got speed and power.
Felipe Alou always used to say, be ready for the baseball, the first pitch of the game on defense. A lot of times guys aren't settled into the game yet, but you look at Bryce Harper right there. Good jump. Pretty well hit ball by Austin Jackson. And Bryce Harper all over it.
That'll bring in Torrey Hunter. So we had a 57-minute rain delay.
95.
Well, Jordan, kind of interesting throughout his career. Not that great when he gets more than his regular rest. Looks okay so far. Tricky little hop, and LaRoche can't handle it. And Danny Espinoza could have taken that ball. He was on his way to first base. That ball spinning on LaRoche. That'll be his 2nd error of the year.
Well, as soon as Adam LaRoche sat on this ball, you could almost see this one coming. Just a tapper off the bat of Torrey Hunter. And right there, just sitting back on it, you're giving that ball an extra hop. And not making excuses, because we all know about Adam LaRoche on defense, but when that diamond dry is put on the field, the ball can tend to get bouncy at times, especially early in a baseball game. You put that sand, that turfus on the dirt to dry it out, you get tricky hops.
Here's Miguel Cabrera now, who at the age of 30 is commonly being referred to as the best hitter on the planet. First in hits, runners in scoring position, batting average, on base percentage, and RBIs. He's only hit 6 home runs, but he hit 44 last year, part of that Triple Crown. Zimmerman's going right at him, and the Tigers have been swinging early in the count. Their batting average of .285 is remarkable for an entire team. First in the major leagues, and only Oakland has scored more runs in the American League. And a great manager, Jim Leyland, at the helm, one of the all-time greats, the #1 active winningest manager. 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball, didn't miss by much, 2-1.
And Miguel Cabrera just does such a good job of letting the ball travel, let it get deep. Never seems like he's in a rush to catch the ball out in front. Uses the whole field, obviously power everywhere. Not too many holes in this guy's swing.
Double play guy if you can get the ground ball. That's a big if. That time Jordan jammed him. AgilityCorp.com, your mission, our commitment. Visit AgilityCorp.com. Last 5 Triple Crown winners. Look at that. Frank Robinson and Carl Yastrzemski went back-to-back in the mid-'60s. Mickey Mantle 10 years before that. Ted Williams in the National League hasn't had one since Ducky Medwick of the Gas House Gang Cardinals back in '37. It is almost an impossible hitter's feat, and he did it. Desmond grabs it, and that's a double play. Ian Desmond with a good backhand grab, and then he got rid of it in a hurry, and that will cover up the error against a great hitter. been a nemesis of theirs for years. With this Mazda starting lineup, we believe if it's not worth driving, it's not worth building. Adam LaRoche came alive with 4 hits, 5 walks in the series at Pittsburgh, his old stomping grounds. So maybe he's going well. Danny Espinosa had a big 3 RBI game on Sunday. Ryan Zimmerman's back in the lineup. Bryce Harper has to be feeling better. So this will be a complete lineup as soon as Jason Worth gets back in. Nats will take on Sanchez, who this year's 3-2 with a 1.82 ERA. Hasn't given up a homer in the league. The American League only hitting .214 against him.
And last time out on May 1st against the Twins, he got the 6-2 loss, gave up 3 runs on 5 hits and 6 innings of work, struck out 9, walked 2, threw 115 pitches, 75 of those for strikes. So 4-seam fastball, 90 to 95. Slider, curve, change to go with it.
Denard Span is 0 for 3 career against Sanchez. Well, by the way, is 3-0 with a 1.13 ERA in this ballpark in his days as a Marlin. That's outside, counts even 1-1. He's made 6 starts at Nationals Park. Interesting about those 19 starts, though, 8-0, and then 11 no decisions. So when he's been brilliant, he's been untouchable. But a lot of times he hasn't been around at the end. That's got a chance, and Denard Span drops one into left center. The Nationals get their leadoff man on.
And there goes the no-hitter. Yeah, right out of the gate, Denard Span, a little lob wedge to left center field. Johnny Peralta going back for it. Perfectly placed single right in between everybody for Span. He was thinking about to, had to put on the brakes on the wet field.
Yeah, something to consider. Base runners thinking about going first to third or maybe scoring from first on a double. Outfielders will be picking up wet baseballs out there. So here's Ian Desmond batting second. Still first in the National League in doubles. Second in extra base hits. He's had good success against Sanchez. Not many hitters can claim they are hitting .320 against this man. He's 8 for 25 with a home run, couple of walks. Tigers play him absolutely straight away in the outfield. In this ballpark, some teams will pinch toward the gaps. And how about that? Denard Span picked off a first to start the game for the Nats.
We've seen that a few times with Denard Span this year. A lot of close calls at first base getting back, and you see the delayed reaction. I don't know if the tag was put on by Prince Fielder, but the throw beat him. I mean, a tad late right there, didn't slip. Didn't look like he got him with the tag, but Jerry Lane, seeing the throw beat Denard Span back to the base, called him out.
0-1 to Desmond now. That's a fastball in there. So an inning that started off in promising fashion, now 1 out, bases empty, and Desmond has to battle on 0-2 in front of Bryce Harper. He bounces that one.
Let's go back to that inning-ending double play in the top of the first. Miguel Cabrera, I feel like this is the only way to get this guy out. Hope he lines out at somebody. Desmond to the backhand on the run. Look at the strong arm throw. And Adam LaRoche making up for the miscue, picking up his shortstop right there for the double play. In between hop, not easy on the backside.
Nats turned their 34th double play of the year. Desmond will hit to Hopper. Omar Infante always solid at second base. Bases empty, 2 outs.
Set the defense for the Tigers behind Sanchez tonight. Dirks, Jackson, Hunter in the outfield. Peralta, Cabrera on the left side. Infante, Fielder on the right side. And Avila doing the catching.
Bryce Harper banged up last week. Only 3 for his last 26. Still batting .312 with an on-base percentage of .400. That one will go outside. Bryce has faced Anibal Sanchez 3 times. He's got a base hit in those 3 trips. Off speed, 2-0.
It's so big to get Sanchez in the stretch right out of the gate. That base hit by Denard Span, not to be. Delayed reaction by Span. Pretty good move by Sanchez. But we've seen that with Denard Span a lot early in the season. Close calls at first base on his leads. I think he's been picked off one other time, but.
Well, 3-0 pitch. Hasn't given up a home run this year, Sanchez. That ball probably not to Bryce's liking. It was tailing to the outer half. Thought maybe he would have the green light, and maybe he did on 3-0 early in the game. Ryan Zimmerman next. Foul tip. Counts full. By the way, if you missed it today, Braves won their game at Cincinnati. So the Nats are 2.5 back of Atlanta. Phillies and Marlins both lost today. Harper hits it hard. Backhand pick, Prince Fielder. They say the big men at the corners for the Tigers are playing some outstanding defense. They've each only made one error this year, Fielder and Cabrera. Pitches, 7 strikes in the first inning, and this second frame presented by Luna. Call tonight for the Luna double. Get your second room of flooring free at 877-241-LUNA. Good crowd. Better than 30,000, maybe up to 34 or so expected tonight, and maybe tomorrow as well. Here's Prince Fielder. Hit .313 for this club last year with 30 homers, 108 RBIs. He's off to a good start. 8 long balls. He's driven in 32, second in the league to Cabrera. Kind of interesting, though, in the World Series, Miguel Cabrera went 3 for 13 against the Giants, and Prince Fielder went 1 for 14. They just stopped hitting, or the Giants stopped them. That was really a shocking 4-game sweep in that World Series last year when you looked at what the Tigers did. But they only won 88 games during the regular season, didn't even make it to 90. Won their division by 3 over the White Sox. Gene Lamont, former manager, alongside Jim Leyland.
They ran into a buzzsaw team that was playing their best baseball at the very end of the season.
Breaking ball, and Prince Fielder hits it high in the air, right center. Harper stalking it, can't get it, off the scoreboard. Prince Fielder cruises into second base with the Tigers' first base hit.
Now, Prince Fielder, 373 consecutive games. That's the longest active streak in the major leagues. Power hitter, protecting Miguel Cabrera, and I think that's a big reason for Cabrera's success. And you see right here, ball up off the wall. Bryce Harper gives it a go. And Prince Fielder probably lost sight of that. When you talk to players, that scoreboard in right center field, if you're running the bases or even if you're taking a cutoff throw, guys will lose the baseball from time to time, where they run the bases in the infield, taking a throw from that scoreboard. It looked like Prince Fielder lost that, waiting to see if Bryce Harper caught it. You can't blame Bryce for not wanting to crash into a fence again.
Absolutely. Here's Andy Dirks. Up the middle. That's in front of the runner. At least it was when he retreated to second base. And Ian Desmond throws out Dirks. So that's an important out to keep that runner at second base. One out here in the second. That ball would have been behind Prince Fielder, but Ian Desmond might have thrown him out at third had he run.
Little tricky hop right there at the end for Desmond, too. Watch the ball hit the diamond dry, kick back to his right side. And if you think I'm making it up, if you've ever played on that diamond dry, yeah, it keeps the field dry. It allows the game to be played, but it's almost like playing on a million Super Balls out there. When the baseball hits it, it'll do funny things. The ball plays a lot more lively. It'll shoot on you. It'll take weird hops, and you just saw the one to LaRoche earlier and that one to Desmond. One of the best playing surfaces in all of baseball. If you talk to the fielders, John Turnauer, the head ground crew, does a great job here at Nats Park. But with that diamond dry on, you're going to see tricky hops.
Fastball inside to Johnny Peralta, the shortstop, hitting .298. At the age of 30, he's really established himself as a good ball player. Although he only hit .239 last year, and that's way below his career average. He did drive in 63 runs, and he's on a 6-game hitting streak tonight. 2-1.
All that diamond dry talk, too. I think Prince Fielder could have advanced to third base right there. The ball was hit behind him. If he takes off on the crack of the bat with his secondary lead, he makes it to third easy.
That ball to the shortstop. That is definitely in front of Prince. And Desmond throws out another runner, 2 outs. Let's go inside the numbers. Brought to you by Jeep. Unique brand of freedom you'll only find in the full line of Jeep vehicles. Visit Jeep.com to learn more. So what's he using and how effective is he with it?
I see all the red right there for his fastball. It's a good color because he's been throwing at 95, 96 tonight. Lots of confidence in that pitch. Setting up a slider curve change. I think the biggest difference in Jordan Zimmerman this year has been the confidence in the fastball. Not afraid to throw the curveball, slider, or change early in the count to get the opposition off his heater.
Wow. Almost perfect so far. Alex Avila.
Like that.
Tiger catcher steps in. That's a breaking ball for a strike. Avila hitting just $193. 26-year-old left-handed hitting catcher who's a .261 career hitter. And his father, one of the knowledgeable baseball men anywhere, Al Avila, Tigers VP and assistant GM.
Yeah, my apologies to the Avila family introducing the defense right there. Got going a little too fast. The Tigers guy, and I love the way this guy plays.
He was a 34th rounder back in '05. Didn't sign. Went to the University of Alabama. Became all SEC. Then the Tigers came back 3 years later and drafted him in the 5th round. Well, Jordan's around the plate with everything. Pretty good 0-2 pitch. Backing a left-handed hitter out of there.
Pretty good 0-2 take. A lot of guys swing over the top of that 87-mile-an-hour slider at your back knee.
Throws him a breaking ball, smothered by Suzuki. 2-2. That fastball's up and in. 95. 3 balls, 2 strikes with the number 8 hitter on deck. And probably one of the best men in baseball to bat in that spot, Omar Infante. Just watch that guy play. There's nothing fundamentally he doesn't do just about perfectly. 3-2 pitch. Close. Hunter Wendelstedt not biting. Neither was the hitter. First and second 2 outs. Mercedes-Benz will track it.
Run 3-2 slider. You see the sequence coming down and in right there. Kurt Suzuki tried to give it the frame job. At the end, didn't get the call.
Yeah, should have been a strike. MBUSA.com. Check them out to find out more about Mercedes-Benz. So here's Infante, a tough out, good contact guy, 275 career hitter. He's at 298 right now with a 5-game hitting streak. And he's 3 for 14 career with a home run against Jordan Zimmerman.
First pitch slider.
Mixing things up here more than he usually does.
Well, he's been doing that recently, especially against the Braves last time. And I feel like it's a tall task to ask Jordan Zimmerman to cut through the Reds, the Braves, and the Tigers back to back to back. But it's the big leagues, and it's a luck of the draw for Jordan. Not easy to cut through those 3 lineups 3 games in a row.
And a bouncer. Ryan Zimmerman can go right to the bag. It's all about the Zimmermans early. Jordan pitching beautifully, and then Ryan about to lead off in a scoreless game. Up 4, 5, and 6. The subject of our Freightworks Nationals do-ups here. Ryan Zimmerman 10 for 42 with a home run against Sanchez. Adam LaRoche 6 hits. Tyler Moore will see this right-hander for the first time. By the way, right of your shot there. Congratulations, Rick Eckstein, new daddy. He and Caroline welcomed Isabel into the world. So a new little member of the Nationals family, Isabel, Caroline, Rick Eckstein. Congratulations, guys. Great baseball family.
Let's hope she looks like her mom.
Roger that. Here's Zimmerman hitting 222.
No offense, Zach.
I'm sure he's hoping the same thing. 2 balls, no strikes. What kind of weekend did Ryan have in Pittsburgh? Couple of hits, couple of RBIs. He walked, scored 2 runs on Sunday. His mere presence back in the lineup changes the dynamic of how Span, Desmond, and Harper will be pitched to, and how many men will be on base when Adam LaRoche comes up.
I think you make a really good point right there. And talking to Davey Johnson yesterday in his meeting, he was talking about Adam LaRoche kind of locking it in, Ryan Zimmerman locking it in. And when those 2 guys do their thing, it takes pressure off everybody else. And you've seen early in the season where some hitters may be trying to do too much. But you get your big guys doing their thing. Now, as maybe a secondary guy, I don't have to go above and beyond the call of duty and try to hit 4-run home runs all the time, because the guys that are supposed to do that are doing it.
That was a pretty good take. Fastball just missing. Now it's 3-1. That's a slider in there at 84. Anibal Sanchez, career, you might be surprised to note that he's got a losing record, 51 and 53, making his 151st start tonight. 3-2 pitch. Zimmerman hits one high in the air. Andy Dirks in front of the track. Air heavy tonight with the rain in the area and all the humidity. Didn't much go anywhere. Pick 4 games. Get a 5th one free. We call it the Natitude Flex Pack. Still available this year. Go to nationals.com/flex and check it out. And one of those games will be on us.
Are you picking up that tab? Because I haven't seen that yet.
We're all in this together. That's why I said us.
That would be a first.
Please.
If you got everybody's 5th game for free, that is news, partner.
That ball cracked into left center. Adam LaRoche is really using that side of the field as they pitch to him that way. And now LaRoche is 5 out of his last 8. And in his last 4 games, he's been on base 10 times.
Oh, first pitch ambush right here from Adam LaRoche. You see how things are slowing down, not just because of the slow-mo replay. His feet are slow. He's seeing the ball better, getting into counts in Pittsburgh. 3-1, 2-1 a lot right there. Decided to swing at the first pitch. Anytime he's going that way, I say it every night, he's locked in.
There's Tyler Moore. Coming off a 3-run home run in Pittsburgh on Sunday. Nobody's made his hits count on the ball club more than this guy. 7 for 39 this year. 8 RBIs, and he's driven all of those in the 7 games in which he has started. See Sanchez for the first time. Got all of that one on Sunday, did he?
Well, I think Nats fans found out more about the man and the player right there. 3 strikeouts looking. Had a rough day the day before. Finished it with a sac fly to put the Nats ahead. But for a young player to turn a 3-strikeout day around to a 1 for 4 with a homer with 2 strikes, showing you a lot about the person, not the player. It's not easy to do. Little souvenir for that Natitude.
Great crowd tonight considering the late afternoon weather into the early evening. Tarp was on from 4:10 till 7:30 tonight. And Moore will hit this ball high in the air near the right field line. Hunter and Infante. And Omar Infante makes the one-hand grab. And with 2 outs in the second, just a reminder as you enjoy a cold one to look forward to Miller time. Later in the game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Nats, by the way, put out a ticket holder advisory statement today. And those of you who had tickets for last night are guaranteed that seat for tomorrow, or you can exchange it, as you have in the past, for any remaining regular or value home game this season. So that part of it's been worked out. The rest is up to you whether you want to come tomorrow or exchange it. Danny Espinosa just got a base hit, laying a bunt right up the third base line with 2 outs. Something a little unusual for a guy who can hit for power. But Danny does get the Nats a runner to scoring position.
Well, it's something, quite frankly, that you'll probably see more of from Danny Espinosa, especially from the left side. Had that big game in Pittsburgh right-handed the other day, but hey, when you're playing uphill like he is, coming into tonight, hitting 185, he'll take knocks any way he can get him. And check out the form. Out in front, head to the baseball, perfect. We place bunt and a base hit for Espinosa. Now it's up to Kurt Suzuki to drive Adam LaRoche, or maybe more in.
Switch to 100% fiber optic Verizon Fios. Supercharge your internet speeds. They bring us the amazing X-Mode. Kurt Suzuki, 6 for his last 39. But his value to the ball club far exceeds what he does with the bat. He's done a wonderful job of handling the staff, especially when Wilson Ramos was on the DL. And he's looking for RBI number 8 here. Although Jim Leyland managed in the National League a lot with the Pirates, he knows the pitcher's on deck, and you don't want to throw a cookie down the middle of this guy. Although it's a good hitting pitcher next. And Suzuki late for that one. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, you got a base open right here if you're Sanchez. Obviously, it's not first base, it's third base. Jordan Zimmerman can hit on deck, but when you're looking at a guy that hasn't given up a run in a long time, Anibal Sanchez knows that. I'd be surprised if he gave Kurt Suzuki another fastball like that one.
Outfielders straight away, and very shallow in right field is the 9-time Gold Glover Torrey Hunter. Guys like that, well, they want to see the pitcher get somebody out, but if they don't, they're dying for a one-hopper right at him to throw one home. That guy's been one of the best defensive outfielders over the last decade. Young Austin Jackson in center. Don't know a whole lot defensively about Andy Dirks in left. We'll check him out for the next 2 games. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And you see Sanchez right there. He can turn it up with reach back fastball. 2 strikes, 96 miles an hour right there. You know, watched his whole game against the Braves the other day on tape where he struck out 17. Fastball command in that game, ridiculous. Just painting both sides of the plate. 94, 95 miles an hour. Nasty slider to go with it. Maybe not the same command here tonight early, but you just saw what he has in the tank. 96 miles an hour.
1-2 pitch. Suzuki rips it foul.
And you know I'm a big reader of swings early in a baseball game, and there's a lot of comfortable swings in the first base dugout right now in a white uniform. Harper hit that ball hard to first base. Zimmerman just missed a home run. LaRoche with that swing and a line drive to left. Even Tyler Moore, although he popped up. Some healthy hacks here early from the Nationals hitters against Sanchez.
You know, and the other thing about that first inning, if Denard Span doesn't get picked off, that ball by Harper might go through the infield. We'll never know, but now the Nats are trying to break out on top in this inning with 2 hits by LaRoche and Espinosa. This one popped up, and it'll be over the dugout, out of play.
And Kurt Suzuki's having some healthy hacks right here in a 2-strike count, not getting cheated, taking nothing out of his swing right now. Very aggressive, and this is where hitting that 8 spot's tough. While you want to expand your zone to drive in a run, you can't get too carried away and swing at anything, or pitchers will take advantage. Right now, Kurt Suzuki giving Anibal Sanchez a fight right here with 2 strikes.
Another 1-2 pitch. Garrett will take that one in the dirt, blocked by Alex Avila, who has not committed an error behind home plate this year. So with 8 pitches during this at bat against a number 8 hitter, the battery will visit. By the way, the Nats have never beaten the Tigers. Tigers won 3 at RFK back in June of '07. And I remember Marcus Thames hitting an upper deck home run in that series, and the Tigers just wore out the Nats. They didn't have the pitching staff they have now. And then 3 in a row at Detroit, June 15, 16, and 17. 3 years ago. So scoring first would put the Nats in a position to maybe grab that first ever W against these guys. Inside 3-2.
I'll tell you what, Suzuki's seeing it big right now against Sanchez. It's a good take.
What does Kinetic think?
A slider backed up a little bit. Avila trying to frame it, didn't get the call, and not guaranteed a 3-2 fastball right here. It's against Sanchez with Zimmerman on deck.
And the runner's on the move. Suzuki, off-speed pitch. That looks like a base hit. Just put it in your pocket, Johnny Peralta. And the Nats have 4 hits in the game, 3 in this inning. Bases loaded, 2 outs.
See what's a line drive in the book, and after all that battle right there, you want to say that Kurt Suzuki might have earned that hit. I mean, good battle right here between these two. And it looked like he got a 3-2 changeup right there. Out in front, backed up. Barrel's overrated.
You know what you said about the pitch is exactly what happened with the batted ball. That was a changeup, and it backed up on Johnny Peralta. So here's Jordan Zimmerman looking for his first RBI or RBIs of the year. He's 1 for 14.
That's a perfect example, though, what Davey Johnson talks about, swinging the bat with 2 strikes, putting the ball in play.
Jordan took a late rip at 94.
I mean, even Jordan Zimmerman with some good rips right here.
Yeah, that was an off-speed pitch from Sanchez. Detroit Tigers in town for the first time in 6 years. Zimmerman guides it up the middle. And Peralta goes to Infante, inning over. Iwo Jima in all of its splendor up on the hill on the other side of the river in Arlington. Beautifully lit up on a beautiful evening now. He's thrown first pitch strikes to everybody so far. AFCEA, the Association for Global Security Professionals. And Julie, guys are getting healthier and healthier all the time. What's the latest?
They are, especially Jason Worth. A lot of questions concerning and swirling about his return. Davey Johnson says that he has been cleared by his own personal doctors, but he's still going to take a few tests. His hamstring is in fact not pulled, but he is experiencing a little bit of tightness. And Davey said he wanted to proceed with caution, especially the past couple of days because of the wet weather conditions. He said the last thing he wants is for Jason to be out there on the grass, slipping and sliding. And so he said, weather permitting, he will be in the lineup as soon as possible. He hopes to see him back. Hopefully we'll have some sunshine coming our way.
Yeah, maybe for a 4 o'clock game tomorrow after last night's rainout. Here's Anibal Sanchez against Jordan Zimmerman.
Boy, guys nowadays have doctors for doctors for doctors. You never want to be too sure. Don't want to take a chance, obviously. And I don't think there's any player I've ever met that knows his body better than Jason Worth, when he's ready, when he's not ready, how far he can push things. And you remember how quick he came back from that wrist injury last year.
Yeah, he was definitely ahead of schedule on that. That didn't take long. Sanchez gone, first at bat of this year. And he's 091 career. Jordan Zimmerman, first time through the lineup. The Tigers go 1 for 7 with a walk. And he throws first pitch strikes to all 9 hitters he's faced so far.
Can I pay a little tribute to the late, great Ernie Harwell, who was one of my favorite broadcasters ever? He's out for excessive window shopping as he looked at strike 3.
I love it.
And I think Ernie would appreciate that. I grew up listening to Ernie Harwell in Detroit, and One of the greatest announcers, if not the best ever.
And one of the greatest people I ever met in this business. And I remember running into him at actually at Comerica Park. Had seen him at Tiger Stadium many years before that. And on the way from the airport, I saw Ernie on like 4 different billboards for Blue Cross Blue Shield. I said, Ernie, you must be making more money on that billboard than you are working. He goes, Bob, I'm 80 years old. I just signed a 10-year contract with a 10-year option. And that was the kind of fun and humor you would get from Ernie Harwell. One of the great voices of the game and one of the great people ever. Only announcer I ever know or heard of who was traded for a player when he was in the minor leagues.
My first ever game against the Tigers in Montreal. He came over to my locker and said, who's the kid from Livonia, Michigan that grew up a Tigers fan? I want to meet him. And it was one of the greatest honors I've ever had. He came over to meet me. I said, are you kidding?
Swing and a foul tip and a strikeout. Jordan Zimmerman takes care of Austin Jackson, 2 outs. Nissan will track it.
Yeah, 86 miles an hour, slider on the black. Looks like a fastball. And how many times have you seen right-handers take that swing right there? They recognize heater, little break at the end, off of the plate. Another well-placed off-speed pitch from Jordan Zimmerman.
Sign and drive today during Nissan's Sign and Drive event. Shop ChooseNissan.com. Strike 1 to Torrey Hunter. And a bouncer. Tough play. It hops over the glove of Ryan Zimmerman down into the corner. Tyler Moore has to play it after he knew it wasn't going to hit the short wall. And the Tigers have their second double of the game.
Well, this is where it gets tough for Jordan Zimmerman all of a sudden. Just a chopper, maybe a little top spin right there. You see, there's the diamond dry coming into play. That last hop over the glove of Zimmerman. I'm telling you, it's like playing on a bunch of Super Bowls out there. And that ball shot as well. Enough to get down the corner and set the stage for a guy hitting .390 in his career with runners in scoring position at 142 for .364. It's tops in the majors since 2011.
Well, first base is open. This is the ultimate pick your poison situation for a pitcher in Major League Baseball. Prince Fielder next, 32 RBIs. Miguel Cabrera in the batter's box, 36 runs batted in. 2 top RBI men in all of baseball. Who do you pitch to? Jordan's going to give Cabrera his best bolt here. Cabrera hit a rocket to Desmond that ended up being a 6-3 double play first time up.
Well, this is what I'm talking about with the diamond dry and how it plays. Watch the last hop once it hits the dirt. And watch where Zimmerman's glove in it and watch the ball just take off.
Yeah, and that's a guy who reads hops as well as anybody.
Hated playing on diamond dry.
No balls, 1 strike.
Turfus, whatever you call it.
Cabrera jammed and he fouls it out of play. Well, people used to say it about Pujols. Now they're saying it about Cabrera. Best hitter in baseball. Nobody, virtually nobody scoring with runners in scoring position against Jordan Zimmerman. That's how you come into a game with a 1.64 ERA. Good speed out there with Torrey Hunter. Showing him the breaking ball away. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
This is where Cabrera, for me, gets even more dangerous with 2 strikes. He goes no stride, lets the ball get deep, thinks about going the other way. Takes a lot out of his swing just to put the ball in play. And very dangerous hitter behind the count.
Yeah, and he takes a little bit off. That's okay. When you stand next to this man, it's amazing how big he is. He is absolutely huge. They list him at 6'4", 240.
Oh,
I mean, those are slow pitch softball numbers.
Those are little league numbers.
2 balls, 2 strikes. He rocks it into left field. Torrey Hunter comes around, and the throw, no chance. Tigers lead 1-0. RBI number 37 in Detroit's 31st game of the year. So you can see what kind of pace this guy's on.
And such a short, compact, quick swing with no holes anywhere. It's a big man. Watch how short this swing is. Fastball on the inner half. Takes a little out of his swing. No stride. 2-strike approach. Puts the ball in play. such a good hitter.
A lot of mutual respect right there, obviously. Here's Fielder. Miguel Cabrera is in a good mood when he talks to a lot of first basemen. That's the thing about the Tigers. I mean, they hit their share of home runs, but their 31 home runs is number 13 right now out of 15 American League teams. This year, they're scoring runs by putting hits together. And that breaks a scoreless streak of Jordan Zimmermann at 21 2/3, actually 20 2/3 innings. Or if you just want to round it, 20 innings.
Took Triple Crown to do it.
Yep. And a bad hop, 2-out double to set it up. Cabrera, if he goes 1 for 3 every night, his average goes down. 2-0 pitch to Prince Fielder. Ball 3.
Yeah, mixing it up against a good hitting team.
Three-0 pitch, target outside corner. He missed to the inner half of the plate and got the strike with Prince taking. Off speed. Wow, that's a tight zone. Jordan doesn't show a whole lot of emotion out there. I think he thought he had strike 2 here.
Kind of backed up a little at the end. I think that was the difference. Suzuki tried to frame it. Pitch track has it outside, but 3-1 curveball just missed.
Yeah. Respect to Prince Fielder. He'll take on left-handed hitting Andy Dirks, who swung early in the count first time and grounded out to Ian Desmond. Andy Dirks is 27 years of age from Hutchinson, Kansas. Played at Wichita State. Tigers took him in the 8th round 5 years ago. .293 career hitter his first 2 years, and he's at .240 right now. A lot of off speed. First pitch well outside.
Dirk's coming off a big game against the Astros on the 5th. 4 for 4, a home run, 2 RBIs. It's the 3rd time in his career he's had a 4-hit game.
That's a beauty on the inside corner.
Little swing back fastball, 95 miles an hour. Start it right at him, catch the inner half. Nailed it.
1 ball and 2 strikes. .23 pitch inning for Jordan Zimmermann here. Got him swinging. He strikes out the side but gives up a run. Top of the order, Span, Desmond, and Harper. Nats down by a run. Top of the order for Washington. When the Nationals win, everybody does all season long. When the Nats get a W and score 7 or more, you get 50% off regular menu price online orders at papajohns.com. Enter promo code NATS50. That's valid at participating D.C., Maryland, and Northern Virginia Papa John's locations. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, official pizza of your Washington Nationals. Denard Span singled first inning, and then while Ian Desmond was batting early in the at-bat, he was picked off first. Miguel Cabrera on the grass at third. Span takes one low.
He's more than on the grass at third. About 3 steps on the grass. He's backing up right now, but he's creeping in with the pitch, totally taking the bunt away from Denard Span.
And then he shows bunt and gets Cabrera on the move, and it's ball 2. That pitch upstairs.
As big as Cabrera is, 3 steps on the grass, he probably feels, Denard Span probably feels like he's standing right next to him, reach out and shake his hand.
That might be one of the biggest third baseman's gloves I've seen in quite a while. Looks like he's wearing an outfield version. So Denard Span, he'll go to the wall this time. Ball caroms away from Torrey Hunter, and he's going for 3. He is safe at third base. Denard looked a little out of balance coming around that second base bag, but when the ball hit at the 335 mark, it didn't carry him toward Torrey Hunter. Denard knows his ballpark, FP, and knew he could make it.
Well, talk about reading swings tonight. They're getting off some good hacks against Sanchez here, and you see another example. Denard Span. And the ball stays down the right field corner. Right there is where you're thinking 3. This right here, folks, is DC flying. Little trip around second base. And he still gets into third. Look at the jump into the slide for Denard Span. He almost lost it coming around second base, and we're talking about the surface here tonight, and that might have had a little something to do with it. Second triple of the season for Span. Nats trying to answer.
Ian Desmond has an RBI sitting out there, and he'll go right side and line out to Prince Fielder. Tigers were playing the infield back, except for Fielder, and Cabrera over near third base, 1 out.
I saw a cap today that said DC Flyer, and I said, that might have to stick with Denard Span. And let's check out the speed right here once again. This is the DC Flyer right here. A little trip, and we've been talking about the surface coming around second base right there. And he still makes it into third base with a triple. And he knows that he almost lost it coming around second.
Time, please.
Gives safe a whole nother meaning.
Here's Harper. And then Jim Leland changes his defense, brings the infield in. It matters not. Bryce Harper gets his 19th RBI of the year. Denard Span slides again, and this game is tied.
A nice piece of hitting right there by Bryce Harper. Not a lot to it. Got something on the outer half. Threw it out there deep enough to Andy Dirksen left to score the Denard Span triple.
Yeah, so that little change of direction off the right field wall buys the Nats a run on a fly ball here when Span goes 3 bags instead of 2. Ryan Zimmerman next with 2 outs. And by the way, both Desmond and Harper went up hacking at the first pitch. Fastball outside half. Strike 1. Sharp breaking ball. Same location, 0-2. Tried to run that fastball back, stayed outside. Adam LaRoche. Beautiful swing. Line drive, frozen rope to left center for a base hit. His first time tonight. Good buzz in the ballpark tonight despite the nearly 1 hour rain delay. Great crowd. I think it's a sign of how things have changed around here. For several years, cool night, April or May, rain delay. A lot of folks would just say, not going to do it. A lot hanging with us tonight. Hard slider in the strikeout. Nats going to run because of the span triple and the Bryce Harper sacrifice fly. On to the middle innings. Tied up. At the ballpark, and you can get your single game tickets. And look at those guys. Gentleman in front threw out the first pitch and did it beautifully, by the way. Those single game tickets are on sale starting at just $10. Nationals.com/tickets. Nobody honors the military as well as the Nationals do on a nightly basis here, and it's really cool after the third inning every night just to take those few seconds to pause and think about them and honor them. Jordan Zimmermann, 51 pitches, 34 strikes in 3 innings. 1 run on 3 hits. He has struck out 3, walked 2. Johnny Peralta leads off. That's a busted bat and a base hit. Seven-game hitting streak for the Tigers shortstop, who bats 6th.
You get your hands inside the baseball, put it in play, good things happen. Bat died a hero for Johnny Peralta.
Alex Avila walked first time up. That is a double play ball, and it won't even be close at first base. Danny Espinosa to Desmond on the 4-6-3. That's second double play of the night and 35 on the year. Let's go inside the numbers with Jeep. Visit Jeep.com and learn more. So how about going back to just before Labor Day last year, and this guy's been all-star caliber.
Absorbing, taking it in. The .7 home runs per 9 is good.
Yeah, when you're giving up less than a home run every 9 innings, that's pretty strong.
Hey, the slow color analyst has to look at those graphics a little bit longer than most people. Try to figure them out, get the calculator out.
Omar Infante takes one outside, 1 ball, 1 strike, bounced out to Zimmermann first time to end that threat back in the second with 2 on, 2 out. Two balls, 1 strike. And a bouncer to Zimmerman. And a chance for Jordan to have a real quick inning, and he does. That was a 6-pitch top of the 4th inning, and he gets his buddies right back in the dugout. Tonight, Teddy third behind Abe and tall Tom Jefferson. Evidently, Teddy had nobody to hand it off to, so he had to keep on going.
Are those shake weights? Because Taft needs one. He's out of shape.
Well, he just dropped his.
I mean, it's a 2-headed race this year. It's been just George and Tom. I mean, you don't even look at whoever wins. You already know who's going to win, George or Tom. George's got 11. Tom has 7.
Maybe George didn't chop down the cherry tree, but he just chopped down another president right there.
The other 3 are absolute losers. Nothing on the board.
How can that be? In May, 3 presidents have not won a race.
I don't know.
Adam LaRoche sees his second pitch of the night. It's a strike. First one he saw, he lined to left center. Tigers have the shift on. Nobody home on the 2/3 left side of the infield, and now the count goes 0-2. It's Miguel Cabrera out there at shortstop. Target away. LaRoche hits the ball out there again. Well, it's only a matter of time, FP. Word gets around. They'll try to bust him inside, and then we'll see him pulling the ball for power.
Yeah, that's all he needed was May 1st. It's that simple. Locked everything in. April behind him. Going the other way. A lot like Tony Gwynn. That's a sweet swing by Adam LaRoche. Once again, just dumping that one in front of Andy Dirks. Second hit of the night. Average climbing.
Yeah, he's over 180 now. Here's Tyler Moore, fouled out to Infante first time. Tyler slaps one foul. He went out hacking. Line drive right in front of Trent Jewett, the third base coach.
Now, LaRoche will be off the interstate in a minute. And he's close. And he talked to me about maybe blocking off his swing a little bit too much to where he was trying to keep his front side closed and go the other way so hard that he was absolutely wrapping himself up and kind of late to the baseball. And we saw a lot of swings in April to where he was underneath the ball and a little bit tardy. And a lot of times a left-handed hitter, when you think about going the other way, you say, I'm going to stay so close that you block yourself off. You have to do a lot of funky things to get to the baseball. Now he's more square to the pitcher. You see the results.
Tyler Moore got worked over there by Anibal Sanchez. Second K of the night. We have an AT&T fact of the game for you. Tigers, the only team the Nats have yet to defeat since moving to our nation's capital back in 05. As mentioned, the 3-game sweep by the Tigers at RFK June of 07, and then 3 years ago in June of 2010, the Nats lost 3 in a row at Detroit.
I think that would be news if it was a team in their division.
That would be big news. Espinosa hits one hard up the middle. So Danny Espinosa has a bunt base hit and a laser beam up the middle. And now his batting average is over 200. He goes to 202 with those base knocks tonight.
A little smile on the face of Danny Espinosa. Why not? You get that first base hit bunt, loosen you up a little bit. Come up there 1 for 1. Nice and relaxed, and the big guys are doing their thing, and it allows maybe the guys behind them to relax a little bit, not try so hard. You're seeing Espinosa, perfect example right there. It's an easy swing right back up the middle. Nice piece of hitting. Anibal
Sanchez heard that one go by. And we sure are glad that J.A. Happ appeared to be okay today. He met with the media after that scary incident when he got hit by a line drive last night. He looked good. He looked alert. And so good to see him, at least for now, doing quite well. Kurt Suzuki, little infield hit that checked up to the left side first time. Hitters 5 on down have produced 5 hits in this game.
A long way to go in this baseball game, but if you want an early recap, a scouting report, I feel like the Nationals hitters are getting much better swings against Anibal Sanchez than the Tigers hitters are getting off of Jordan Zimmerman. Zimmerman's stuff is better. Obviously, the Tigers are a threat to go deep at any time, and a long way to go in this baseball game, but I want a quick scouting report. The Nats aren't getting cheated, and they're seeing Sanchez big.
He has 7 hits now in just 3 1/3 innings. And his pitch count's up there a little bit. He had a really long second inning. The Nats have him 1 pitch short of 60 with 1 out here in the 4th. Sure helped that Jordan Zimmerman got his guys right back with the bat rack in the bottom of this inning. They weren't in the field very long at all for those 6 pitches. Suzuki high in the air to right for Torrey Hunter. Adam LaRoche, I don't think he'll be running on this guy. He's going to, and it's going to be close. It hits LaRoche in the helmet.
That went in the dugout.
And that's a run. That ball went into the camera bay at the end of the Tigers dugout, and the Nationals get a huge break as LaRoche takes on Torrey Hunter.
Sanchez late backing up right there. And the throw bounced off Miguel Cabrera into the camera well, and as soon as it goes in there, LaRoche gets home. And you're thinking, he's not going to go third right here. Torrey Hunter's got a great arm, and he said, yeah, I am. Being aggressive, and Miguel Cabrera just fanned on that. And that might be another example of the way the ball is bouncing off the dirt. A big hop right there from Torrey Hunter. And awards Alan Porter, or that's Greg Gibson, excuse me. Awards LaRoche home.
At first I thought the ball hit LaRoche in the helmet. It might have hit him in his left hand as he raised it up to slide.
So that got LaRoche in the hand? Yeah, it did. You're right. It's a good call, Cart. I didn't see that initially. And that was the difference.
So that's an error on Torrey Hunter, his first of the year. And Adam LaRoche being aggressive with 2 outs pays off. Nats on top. Jordan Zimmerman grounded out to short first time. He might surprise the Tigers with an RBI hit here. He won't surprise us because we know what a good hitter, what a good athlete he is. 9 career RBIs, and he's got the count in his favor.
To me, that's a perfect example of if LaRoche gets thrown out right there, everybody at home in this ballpark is going, what is he doing? Making the third out at third. Are you kidding me? But he's aggressive right there. Ball goes into camera well, and everyone's like, great play, way to hustle.
Yeah, you'll take it against this staff. And Jordan Zimmerman gone, but the Nats pick up an unearned run. Well, LaRoche probably earned every foot of it, but the error puts the Nats on top. PNC Bank for the achiever in you, and by DET AT WAS, affordable coverage for priceless smiles. Ask your broker about DET AT WAS. Wow, does anybody preside over Washington like that gentleman? Mr. Lincoln's Monument. We go top of the fifth. Nats on top. Here's Julie.
Well, guys, as you may have mentioned earlier in the game, it's been almost a week since Jordan Zimmerman's last start. But one thing does remain constant, and that's Kurt Suzuki behind the dish. He caught Jordan's prior two starts with much success. And even though they didn't work too much together during spring training, he said that they've really gotten in a good groove. He said they're really on the same page. And he said Jordan's not afraid to throw anything for strikes. And he said they have a little pregame ritual exchange before a game where Jordan asks Kurt, "Hey, do you know what you want to do tonight?" And Kurt replies, "Nope." That's basically it. He said it helps to have less thought go into every pitch.
Well, Kurt Suzuki's a good reader of swings. They know what Jordan's got going on a given night. He's seeing the stuff firsthand, right? So he knows what pitches are working and where he should go in certain counts. And they've been good together. The tempo. And Jordan's talked about he's thinking about a pitch before Kurt Suzuki even puts down the sign. Like, I'm thinking curveball right here. Then you see Suzuki put down a 2. Pretty good sink on the fastball tonight from Jordan, too. Good tail late.
Disposed of the opposing pitcher quickly. Top of the fifth underway. Austin Jackson and Torrey Hunter, the next two. First pitch slider for a strike. By the way, the Nats will be at Detroit for a short little 2-game series right at the end of July. Tuesday, Wednesday, July 30th and 31st. On a trip that'll take them to Detroit and Milwaukee. That'll be about 2 weeks after the All-Star break. A rare home and home, first time I remember that happening with anybody but the Orioles. And of course the Nats will do that 2 games here, 2-game thing in Baltimore before that. So Interleague has a few quirks this year. Nats are 3-0 in Interleague play, by the way, in case you forgot. They swept the White Sox here. Fastball, and Austin Jackson late for it. He's lined out hard to right and struck out swinging.
And 64 pitches tonight, season high 107. That was his last start against the Braves.
Wow, look at the snap on that thing. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Yeah, really got helped out that pitch count by that 6-pitch 4th inning with the double play ball. Good slider away and it hit right off the end of Austin Jackson's bat. This is one of the players the Tigers got back in 09 when they traded Curtis Granderson to the Yankees. They got Phil Koch, who's on the DL but rehabbing, and pitcher Ian Kennedy. He got jammed. Pretty good job by Zimmerman. Routine fly ball. Bryce Harper, 2 outs. PNC Bank for the achiever in you. Anthony Rendon acquitted himself very well with the Nats while up here. Number 6 overall pick just 2 years ago. So he's 6 for 18 in his return to Double-A.
He'll be back.
Well, Mike Rizzo said that they wanted him to go back to Double-A because that's where the hard throwers are. The guys who really bring it. And you want to see him get as good at bats and be able to handle a fastball. And Mike said there may come a time in the next month or two when he gets that promotion to Syracuse. Different kind of pitching at AAA than there is at AA. More guys who change speeds and move the ball around. But right now they want him taking on the hard throwers. All those up and coming hot arms at AA.
Yeah, take what you learned in your short time at the major league level and apply it at AA and hope that that guy calls you back sometime during the year.
1 ball, 1 strike.
I dropped the Godfather on him yet this year. Hope the Godfather calls you back this time of year.
This is when you're hoping for an offer you can't refuse. 2 balls, 1 strike. Look at that slider. Was it a swing? No, says Jerry Lane. Torrey Hunter held up. He's reached on an error and a double that bounced over the glove of Ryan Zimmerman 2 innings ago. Don't walk this guy in front of Miguel Cabrera. They'll take him on, and that's 3-2 off to the right side.
It's no slouch in the batter's box right now. It's a number 2 hitter in the American League.
I know.
364.
Yeah, but he's only hit 1 homer. I'll take this guy. But you better throw him a quality pitch. He can hurt you. I'd say that's a quality pitch. Some high gas. 2 Ks in the inning, 5 in the game for Jordan Zimmerman. And on a night when things have cleared up nicely, the Nats lead. You like to watch. Denard Span, 38th career triple, setting up the go-ahead run. Adam LaRoche has a couple of knocks, and Jordan Zimmerman, 73 pitches, 49 strikes.
Yeah, we're going to show you some knocks. Adam LaRoche with a sweet swing. Espinoza with the bunt. Denard Span, short and quick, triple down the corner. Adam LaRoche with another base hit. And a sweet swing by Danny Espinoza right there. Line drive up the middle. And maybe I'll let you explain, since you're better with numbers, what Davey was talking about the other day about an 80% swing and 100% timing.
Well, you know, Davey was asked about this culture we have today that started really back in the mid-'80s with guys like Rob Deere and Pete Incaviglia and some others where they just strike out and strike out and strike out. And Davey has a theory that if hitters would take 20% out of their swings with 2 strikes, they'd still have 100% of their timing. They'd make contact more and get more hits. But he said some guys want to do it and a lot of guys don't. They don't want to give up that power. It's an interesting theory.
Well, I feel unless you're a speed guy, I kind of understand what guys are thinking right now. Speed guys put the ball in play with 2 strikes, beat something out. You never know what happens. But if you're a guy that's going to clog up the bases or gets paid to hit the ball deep, I think that the majority of hitters right now in today's game feel like an outs and out, regardless if you strike out or hit a weak ground ball to short. So why take anything out of your swing with 2 strikes? Let it fly. Swing hard in case you hit it. You might run into something and do some damage with 2 strikes. And you see it all the way around baseball right now. Back in the day, the worst out you could make was a strikeout, and I don't think that applies to today's game. Guys trying to get paid to go deep. And it's understandable.
Well, the Diamondbacks, I think, 2 years ago, over 1,500 strikeouts in a season. I think the Braves could come close to that this year. They are a free swinging ball club. By the way, on that previous pitch, I think Denard Span told Hunter Wendelstedt he pulled the bat back and didn't swing on the bunt. But I think Wendelstedt told him it was a called strike anyway. 1 ball, 2 strikes. They had some words about that, and the count's now 2-2.
Well, the pitch was low.
Because Denard was claiming he pulled the bat back. Two for 2 tonight and batting .291. He'll pull that and outside the bag. Anibal Sanchez, a long 2nd inning and a long 4th inning. Wow, 121.
And Jim Leland not afraid to let his guys go.
That was in a 10-0 win at home against Atlanta when he went 8 innings on a 5-hitter, struck out. Yeah, I guess you're going to throw 121 pitches. He struck out 17. Are these notes correct?
Yeah, against the Braves.
Wow.
That's the game I watched on video the other day. His fastball is electric. His off-speed.
What'd you do during the at-bats? 17 strikeouts.
Yeah, 115 pitches, 75 for strikes.
That's almost 6 innings with no contact.
I'm sorry, 121 pitches, 84 for strikes. 17 strikeouts, 1 walk, 8 innings. Gave up 5 hits against the Braves on April 26th.
Yeah, 10-0 win. His ERA at that point, 1.34. Came in 1.82 tonight. Yeah, then 9 more against the Twins in a 6-2 loss. Span up the middle. Ball hits the mound and takes a little change of direction. Well played by Johnny Peralta for the first out. Friday night, we've got a Pilsner Cup for you, presented by Miller Lite. First 15,000 fans, 21 and over, receive it, and you must enter the center field gates to receive that promotional item. Go to nationals.com/tickets. So while supplies last, some restrictions apply, and the Cubs will be here Friday night. Dan Herron, Doug Fister, by the way, at 4 o'clock tomorrow. Makeup game from last evening, and then the Cubs for 3, including a 4 o'clock game on Saturday.
I got my Pilsner Cup yesterday. I may or may not have used it already.
I gave mine to somebody, but he was over 21. In fact, he was way over 21. Ian Desmond is 0 for 2, bounce to the second, and a line out softly to first. So Sanchez has had him going the other way twice. Up and away, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Ian's hit safely in 11 of his last 12 games. Spotted the changeup. Easy take for him. 2 balls, 2 strikes. '29-year-old Anibal Sanchez from Maracay, Venezuela. Desmond locked up on a breaking ball. Sanchez, 4th strikeout tonight.
Let's check out Bryce Harper's road trip. It was very eventful. And when you go back to the Braves series, Tim Hudson going for win number 200 decides, well, I'm going to go deep on my 200th win. Bryce Harper crashes up against the wall, bruises his right side. Right there, you're thinking, oh no, it's the oblique. But it was just a bruise, I should say. Just a bruise. And then the whole John Hirschbeck incident in Pittsburgh, to where Bryce Harper threw his helmet down, looked back at him, and
got a day off.
Got 3 days off.
Harper, right center. See you later. 3-1 Nats. Harper into double digits with number 10. An absolute no-doubter. And Bryce has 2 RBIs tonight. He's up to 20.
Well, he's been very aggressive since we just showed him run into the wall, swing at the first pitch. The majority of his plate appearances. And on this pitch from Anibal Sanchez, he ran into one for his 10th home run of the year. It's got to be a good feeling for Bryce Harper. Had a rough road trip in more ways than one, and you know, he sent out something on Twitter the other night. Great to be back in D.C. He loves playing in the white union for the home fans, and you see why. First pitch, catches it out front. And whenever he hits one like that, especially to right center field, you know it's gone.
First home run given up this year by Anibal Sanchez in nearly 45 innings. Going to give one up. You might as well give one up like that. And it's 2-0 to Zimmerman. Look out here. Ryan will be pumping if he sees a good fastball. He'll get a breaking ball, though, for a strike. So Bryce Harper, 10th homer, RBI total up to 20.
Well, we've seen the 3 days off. Maybe that side's feeling a little bit better.
Ryan thought he was getting a fastball. Late breaker, 2-2. So Bryce Harper now 32 career home runs and 79 career RBIs. Zimmerman will be called out on strikes. On the corner, strikeout number 5 for Anibal Sanchez. But Bryce Harper gets all of one, and the Nats have a 2-run lead.
Right here from Sanchez, not out in front, right on time. First pitch curveball, and that's what good hitters do. They look for a pitch early in the count. It looks like Bryce Harper, who has been known to sit on off speed early, does it right here, catches it out front. Foot not really off the ground like it usually is on his home runs. Just a nice, easy swing. How far that one went. Wow.
$250 more to the Children's National Medical Center. And the Nats have now hit 31 home runs this year. So, it's a wonderful cause, and it's all thanks to our Washington, D.C. Lexus dealers donating that money. Lexus, the pursuit of perfection. You feel better with a 2-run lead when Miguel Cabrera is leading off an inning. He's 1 for 2 with an RBI single.
Feel better when nobody's on. Did he feel something right there in that swing?
Yeah, he was kind of grabbing his side a little bit, huh?
Yes.
The dreaded oblique. Nobody wants to say that word anymore. Fastball hit hard. Ian Desmond. I mean, how hard does this guy hit the ball every time he bats?
Well, how about the play? I mean, you know Miguel Cabrera is going to hit the ball hard. I don't think that's news to anybody, but Ian Desmond going up the middle right there, ranging far to his left, making a routine play, or maybe not a routine play, look easy. Up the swag after he got it, too. A little glove flip behind his back after he makes the exchange, knows he's got time, and hey, show off the hose, you got it, why not?
Glove behind the back. Haven't seen that one.
Swag, man. They didn't have that early. They have it now.
Here's Fielder, double walk tonight. Man, that's a good-looking breaking ball. Must have stayed outside.
Let's check out Miguel Cabrera. I wonder if he's feeling something. You saw him on that pitch grab his side. He doesn't look good right there. You never want to speculate, but the second swing of that at-bat grabbed his left side.
Only 2 hitters, well, 3 counting the pitcher, had ever faced Jordan Zimmermann before tonight. Torrey Hunter, Omar Infante, and Anibal Sanchez. There's a foul tip, and Prince Fielder just got himself with that one.
It's a foul ball right here, and see if we can see anything. Yeah, it's a little something right there.
And the right side.
No trainers around. Maybe he's just shocked he finally made an out.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Fielder has to walk one off after he fouled one off his body. Prince Fielder, by the way, lost a bunch of weight after last season. He's been dabbling in the martial arts, making his hands quicker, his body and his reactions quicker. But I don't think Jordan Zimmermann was throwing in whatever studio where he was working out.
They tried to go judo chop on this high fastball. It didn't work. 94 in your eyes, not going to catch up to that. Even if you are Prince Fielder hitting with your glasses on at night.
Kinetic North America, from the warfighter in the field to the data in the cloud. We protect our country's most critical assets. 2 outs, bases empty, and here's Andy Dirks. First pitch slider low. He squared around. That got Ryan Zimmerman on the move. Dirks has bounced out to Desmond and struck out swinging. Base hit right field. It's the Tigers' first base hit since the 4th inning. Jordan Zimmermann had retired 7 consecutive batters. Johnny Peralta next. So they have a double from Torrey Hunter. An RBI single from Cabrera after that in the 3rd. Fielder had double leading off the 2nd. Never made it beyond second base. And to this point, harmless singles by Peralta and Dirks. Left-hander Drew Smiley. Remember the ball game he started against the Nats down in Vieira? Guy looked like he was a great starter. They have him working out of the bullpen. Tigers have a very talented pitching staff.
He's been the MVP of their bullpen this year. 1.35 ERA. He's been pitching multiple innings for Jim Leyland, getting the job done.
Joaquin Benoit and Jose Valverde have combined for 5 saves in their bullpen. Octavio Dotel is trying to work his way back.
84th pitch coming. Getting back to the fastball a little bit more. It was almost 50-50 there for a minute.
Peralta base hit up the middle last time up. And another one. Span charges, and Dirks will stop at second base. And it'll be Alex Avila now with 2 on, 2 out in a 2-run game.
We did so many Dirks Bentley promos last year. Every time you say Dirks, I have a little flashback over here.
Yeah, no, we've got some concert action coming up. Haven't talked about it much. We'll let you know when they let us know. Alex Avila has walked and hit into a 4-6-3 double play, but that double play ball 2 innings ago was really sharply hit right at Danny Espinosa. Key spot in the ball game now for Zimmerman and the Tigers.
Probably human nature once you retire Miguel Cabrera and Prince Fielder and get to 2 outs to take a deep breath. Now Jordan Zimmerman has to go.
And he goes ahead with 92. Took a little bit off at 88.
That's a slider down and in, looking like a fastball to Alex Avila, and then just disappears.
Wow, he missed that by a foot. He is out of the inning. Delayed call by Hunter Wendelstedt. Strikeout number 7. Zimmerman continues to impress.
He stood there like a house by the side of the road.
Thank you, Ernie Hartwell. Check out MLB.tv. If you spend some time on the road, you can watch every out-of-market game live online on your favorite mobile and connected device. HD quality with MLB.tv Premium. So MLB.tv is baseball everywhere. Adam LaRoche standing as tall as that foul pole right now, the way he's swinging. 2 base hits to left center, almost carbon copies of each other. And an aggressive base running play when he went to third on a 2-out fly ball to Torrey Hunter. The throw hit him, went into the camera bay, and he scored to give the Nats the lead 2 innings ago. Here he is again. So he's 8 for 32 now, career against Anibal Sanchez. This might be Sanchez's last inning. He's due to bat second in the 7th. Adams seeing the ball well. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Good changeup right there. One of the better pitches from Sanchez tonight. Mixing it up nice. 54 to 46. 88th pitch coming.
He's going to paint the inside corner. LaRoche moved back. Strikeout number 6. And he has fanned 3 of the last 4 batters around Harper's home run.
Yeah, best sequence of the night for Sanchez to any Nationals hit. A run back fastball right there, 93 off a good change. It's one of those tip your cap, hang with him at bats for Adam LaRoche.
Tyler Moore 0 for 2. He's fouled out and struck out. First pitch breaking ball. Well hit, slicing out of play. Nationals box score. It'll show 2 different innings when they put hits together. But they scored in one of them. Loaded the bases in the second on hits by LaRoche, Espinoza, Suzuki. RBIs by Bryce Harper, sac fly and a home run. And the throwing error that scored LaRoche. Tigers have stranded 6, the Nats just 4. Pretty opportunistic with their hits tonight. Number 1 active manager, 1,695 wins, Jim Leyland. Off speed, Tyler Moore 0 for 3 against Sanchez. Strikeout number 7, Moore twice.
Well, Jim Leyland and Davey Johnson have faced each other tons of times in the past. Mets versus Pirates, Reds versus Pirates, Orioles versus Marlins, Dodgers versus Rockies. Davey with a 78-46 advantage over Jim Leyland in the history of those two. Davey Johnson with 2 managers of the year, Jim Leyland 3. They both won 1 World Series, so 2 legendary guys going at it right now in this series.
Yeah, Cooperstown will come calling for both of them. Leyland manager of the year in both leagues.
Yeah, the 90 Pirates, the 92 Pirates, and the 06 Tigers. And Davey Johnson, manager of the year last year, obviously, and the 97 Orioles.
Jim Leyland managed in the minor leagues for 11 years in the Tigers organization, way back when. Coach for Tony La Russa in Chicago for 4 years. And he was a scout for St. Louis with La Russa for 6 years. So he's spent some time away from managing, but now he's come back to manage 8 years in a row for the Tigers.
Davey Johnson, a storied career in the major leagues. Jim Leyland never played in the big leagues.
Lou Putkonen and Drew Smiley. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Espinosa. Danny 2 for 2.
And the last time those 2 guys faced each other was when Davey was with the Dodgers and Jim Leyland with the Rockies at Coors Field 13 years, 7 months, and 20 days ago is the last time those 2 managed against each other. How about that?
Yeah, he managed Colorado for 1 year, Jim Leyland did. That ball gets away. Danny Espinosa didn't realize it right away, and he is thrown out. So we're going to the top of the 7th. Jordan Zimmerman back to work in a 3-1 game. trying to go at least 7 for the 3rd consecutive start, and this would be the 5th time in the last 6. So walks plus hits per innings pitched. Some cool guys at the top of the whip chart. And young Mr. Harvey of the Mets making quite an impression all over the place. I mean, look at these guys. They just don't walk anybody, and they give up very few hits. Inside the Numbers brought to you by Jeep. And the brand of freedom you'll find only in the full line of Jeep vehicles at Jeep.com.
And one thing in common with all those guys right there, not scared. You go right after hitters, and if you have their stuff, why wouldn't you?
Tigers have Omar Infante. They'll hit for Sanchez next as this one moves to the late innings. 2 balls, no strikes. That's outfielder Don Kelly, the only lefty on their bench. They do have a couple of switch hitters. That is severe damage. 1 out, Adam LaRoche. So Don Kelly will step in as the pinch hitter. He's 0 for 1 as a pinch batter this year. Kelly, 33 years of age, infielder and outfielder from Butler, PA, and a .232 career hitter in parts of 6 years now with the Pirates and the Tigers. Most of that with Detroit.
Well, Jim Leyland, a manager that believes in using all 25 guys on the roster. I think in Detroit he's criticized more than any manager I've ever heard of for the lineups he throws out for the Tigers, but his theory is it's a long season. He's got to keep his guys fresh, and if he's going to ask a guy to win a game for him late, he's got to keep him in a lineup somehow. And he says it's not a matter of being tricky with the lineup, it's common sense. If you look at NFL teams, you have offense, defense, and special teams. Everyone's involved, and no manager in baseball keeps everybody involved as well as Jim Leyland.
Justin Verlander right behind him there. Nats miss him. He pitched on Sunday. Had a no-hitter going for a while. And Miguel Cabrera made quite a play in that game to keep that thing going. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Little looping pop fly out to Ian Desmond. 2 quick outs. Jordan Zimmerman due to bat second in the bottom of the 7th. And Toyota's K for Kids, $37 to the Children's Inn at the National Institutes of Health for every strikeout by a Nats pitcher this season. Jordan tonight has fanned 7 Tigers. Top of the order, Austin Jackson, 0 for 3. High slider, strike 1 right on the corner.
Former player fantasy camp, if I could play for 2 guys. Number 1 would be Bobby Cox, and number 2 close behind would be Jim Leyland. 2 guys that every player that I've ever talked to has never had a bad word to say about him. Maybe one of the only regrets of my career is that I didn't have a chance to play for either one. Players, managers, guys that love to play for you.
0-2 pitch. Jackson gets around late, but he drops it right field corner, and Bryce Harper, playing him that way, cuts it off, keeping him to a single. It's good advanced scouting by the Nationals to put Harper in that spot, and then Bryce's speed made up the difference.
Well, Austin Jackson's had a couple of nice swings tonight, all the other way. The first time up, he lined out to Bryce Harper. Remember, Bryce had that good jump early in the baseball game with Jackson leading off. This one very similar, just well placed to the left of Bryce Harper. Another good swing for Austin Jackson here tonight.
And either in the field or in the batter's box, FP, nothing appears to be bothering physically Bryce Harper tonight.
Nope.
He looks free and easy. Torrey Hunter. Ooh, what a swing that was.
Trying to tie the game.
Yes, he was. Torrey's only hit 1 homer this year. He has 298 career. Nissan will track it.
And fastball up and out over the plate, and Torrey Hunter just a hair late. How many hitters have you seen this year with that late life on the Jordan Zimmerman fastball, looking for the heat, and just a hair behind it?
Jackson, good speed, but you can't take the bat out of these guys' hands with 2 outs. Casey was thrown out. That indicates some late movement. Torrey Hunter took a big hack, and that ball hit right off the end of the barrel.
Pitch number 100 coming.
Yeah, this could be a pitch count after 107 at Atlanta last week. That finishes Jordan if he can get through 7. As mentioned, he's due up second after the stretch. Crowd making some noise to get the final out here in the top of the 7th inning.
Going with the curveball.
One long inning, the 3rd, when he gave up that run on 2 hits, plus a walk in that frame. Quick in the 1st, quick in the 4th. And the 0-2, he popped him up. Ryan Zimmerman says he has it. Another great outing for Jordan Zimmerman. That's 5 of his last 6, going either 7, 8, or 9. And he's done it against a really tough lineup. 7th inning stretch brought to you by Hyundai's Easy Decision event. Visit your Washington area Hyundai dealers this week. Time to go for a stroll on the in 2 HD when game 2 of this series takes place. And coming off a brilliant outing, 8 innings, 1 run, a solo homer by Dan Uggla, Dan Herron, who's got his record back even at 3-3. Johnny and Ray here at the ballpark at 3:30 with Nats Extra will get you going. FP and I will join you from the booth at 4 o'clock, and first pitch right around 4:05. Visit Cox.com and learn how Cox Advanced TV Plus provides personal recommendations based on what shows you like to watch. So Denard Span, great in the leadoff spot. Bryce Harper goes deep, and I mean deep. And Jordan Zimmerman, another fantastic outing over 7 innings tonight.
Yeah, Bryce is back. Hit the ball hard his first time up to Prince Fielder at first base. Came up his second time for a little sac fly action to left field to get the Nats on the board. And then last time up, set on a first pitch curveball from Anibal Sanchez and drove it out to right center field about 10 rows deep over the scoreboard. So big night working for Bryce Harper.
And as they hit the high note during the stretch, it'll be Jose Ortega taking over for the Tigers here against Suzuki. What we think will be a pinch hitter. And it'll be Steve Lombardozzi for Jordan Zimmerman, and then the top of the order, Denard Span.
Yeah, nice layout, by the way, on the high note right there. Got to give you props. Tyler Clipper getting hot.
Jose Ortega, 24-year-old right-hander from Venezuela. Just a couple of games at the major league level for the Tigers last year. This guy's been in the minor leagues battling his way to the big leagues for the better part of 6 years. There will be a lot of hitters and pitchers in this series who've never faced each other. Kurt Suzuki, 1 for 2 with an infield hit and a fly ball to right. There is one hitter this inning who's faced Ortega before. We'll tell you when he comes up.
They're so mysterious sometimes. Ortega, fastball, slider change. Fastball averaging 96 miles an hour. Slider 84, change 89.
Two balls, no strikes. A leadoff walk would really be good for the Nats. Against this Tiger offense, you need to tack on a few. Cabrera and Fielder, first 2 batters in the top of the 8th. .30 pitch.
That fun count to hit, and if you're Kurt Suzuki right now, you know you're going to get 95. You look to your zone. Don't just swing with the count because you're up 3-1. Go to your happy spot and let it fly.
Up the middle, busted his bat, way to his left. Johnny Peralta got rid of it in a hurry. Tigers in error tonight, but they've made only 10 all season long. Don't forget about that Natitude Flex pack on sale right now. Pick 4 games, get a 5th game free. It's on the booth. Go to nationals.com/flex and check it out. Steve Lombardozzi will be the pinch hitter for the Nats. Steve is 4 for 12. Most pinch hits on the ball club. And as a left-handed batter, he's 1 for 5. So he hits for Jordan Zimmerman, who pitches 7 brilliant innings tonight. A run on 7 hits, walked 2, struck out 7.
Did you see the 5th game was on the booth?
You heard that.
That's on you. You're picking up the tab on this one. The flex plan.
They don't have to pay, I'm telling you. Lombardozzi got a fastball he thought he could work with. He manages to get that out of play. And the count's even. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Nice play by the Tiger fan right there over the third base dugout.
One ball, 1 strike. A wicked curveball in the dirt. 2-1. Denard Span has faced Jose Ortega before. He's 0 for 1 with a ground out. Probably helped his teammates out a little bit when they saw a pretty unknown pitcher coming in. Lombardozzi gets a big piece of that one, but it's high in the air to right for Torrey Hunter. 2 outs. This copyrighted broadcast is presented by authority of the Washington Nationals Baseball Club and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Washington Nationals. Great crowd tonight. Tell you about that in a minute. Tigers get another right-hander ready. That's Joaquin Benoit. former Texas Ranger. And Denard Span lines it right at Torrey Hunter. A quick bottom of the 7th. So Clippard's coming in. Cabrera and Fielder await. Through 7. Well, with Cabrera and Fielder coming up, if we can say that 3 outs from now, then the Nats are really on to something. But another amazing performance by Jordan Zimmermann tonight. I mean, this is no flash in the pan. This guy's doing it every time out now.
Yeah, I don't think people realize how hard it is to go through the Reds, the Braves, and now the Detroit Tigers, one of the best hitting teams in all of baseball. So for Jordan Zimmermann tonight, just a great job once again of pounding the strike zone, trusting your stuff, being aggressive, all the cliches, but they hold true with this guy right now. I think that the biggest cliche, if you want to call it that, is confidence, mound presence, and just the way he's taking the baseball and not afraid of the big guys. I mean, going right after Miguel Cabrera, Prince Fielder tonight, this lineup, Torrey Hunter as well, Austin Jackson. He's done a great job the last 3 outings, and you know, from baseball guy to baseball guy, I think the most impressive things are the lineups that he's had to cut through 3 times in a row.
Roger Bernardina in left field. I don't think it's a double switch because the Nats are still at the top of their order. So Bernardina will bat 7th, actually 6th for Tyler Moore. This call to the bullpen packaged by the UPS store. We love logistics. And here's Tyler Clippard against Miguel Cabrera.
Numbers on Clippard: 2-1, 3.65. Could tighten up the 11 strikeouts to 8 walks, but I think that was just one bad outing.
By the way, Miguel Cabrera against Clippard, 0 for 1 career with a ground out. So that is a straight defensive swap for Davey Johnson. Bernardina for Tyler Moore. There's a changeup. Cabrera spotted that, didn't bite on it. 2-1. Nats on top by 2. The 2 most dangerous RBI men in the major leagues lead off this 8th inning. Way out ahead of it.
That's a far strike.
Right to the end of the mezzanine.
There you go. That guy never thought he was going to get a souvenir tonight when he sat in his seat. Change up on the inner half. Cabrera catches it outside, and it's all that is a far strike. But it was really far. Check this out. There's no way that guy thought he was getting the ball.
Then Cabrera goes upstairs and hacks 93 right back to the screen. Cabrera tonight 1 for 3. Hit the ball hard 3 times. Twice to Desmond, 1 a line out for a double play and a ground out in the 6th. RBI base hit through the left side in the 3rd. The only run Jordan Zimmermann's given up in a long time. Tried to paint the outside corner and missed. So if you add Zimmerman 7 innings tonight, Jordan's given up 1 run in his last 25 frames. Clippard trying to keep it right here at 3-1. He goes changeup and pops him up, but it's out of play.
You see Miguel Cabrera look back out at Tyler Clippard right there as that ball was in the air. He looked back to Tyler Clippard. He kind of lost his balance, stepped across into the left-hander's batter's box. And check it out. Just misses this changeup up. And watch Miguel Cabrera look at Clippard. Well, I don't know what he was saying. Maybe throw me that again, or I don't know. That was interesting.
Fastball straight back. It's a good matchup here. Well, we like it when Tyler throws the fastball. I mean, the guy throws 94, 95. Sometimes he gets changeup happy, but man, when he works the changeup off that fastball, he's really good. Fastball up. Battle on here.
No idea where to throw this guy or what to throw him. I mean, he's covering everything. The outer half, the inner half. You can't throttle him soft and hard because he's on the changeup, he's on the fastball, and there's a reason why he won the Triple Crown. There's a reason why he's hitting 384.
And Tyler has a breaking ball, but you'd hate to see him throw that and walk him to lead off an inning. Fastball. That ball is rammed out to center, but there's Denard Span. So Tyler Clippard wins that battle. That's a huge out in this game.
Just going right after him. Here it is, hit it up by 2 runs. I know you're a good hitter, but give Tyler Clippard a lot of credit right there. A lot like Jordan Zimmerman did tonight, going right after guys. Nice job.
Prince Fielder, 1 for 2, double walk and a strikeout. Fielder against Clippard, 2 for 5 career with a couple of singles. And this pop up out of play. Mets are batting bottom of the 9th, trailing the White Sox. So if the Nats can win, only Atlanta and Washington would post W's in the division tonight. Washington trying to stay 2 back of the Braves.
This is glasses against glasses. Prince Fielder.
Well, Zimmerman would say goggles.
Oh, goggles versus goggles, whatever you want to call it. But Prince Fielder wears those at night because he feels like it brightens the baseball. He wears them during the day to cut down the glare, and at night he feels like it makes the ball brighter.
Look at that changeup. He had Fielder reaching for it. 2 outs here in the 8th.
Well, that's a Bugs Bunny changeup right there, and clear beats tinted in the battle of the goggles. Look at this changeup. Pull the string, Tyler Clippard. And Prince Fielder, after seeing some fastballs on the inner half at 93, can't hold up on a great changeup from Tyler Clippard. Look how far out in front he is of this. And Tyler Clippard, a lot like Jordan Zimmerman, just said it, going right after the big boys.
Here's Andy Dirks. Base hit last time, 1 for 3. He's never faced Clippard. Throwing the heater. And throwing it well tonight, getting strikes with it. Then he's got the changeup for a called strike. I would imagine you could look at tape of Tyler Clippard if you haven't faced him before, but it's nothing like the uncertainty of getting into the batter's box and seeing the fastball changeup combo.
That's why winning in your division is so hard when you play a team 19 times and you get to face a reliever multiple times over the course of a season. But when you're playing interleague play, you trust what your eyes tell you on that night.
Really slowed his bat down with that changeup.
Guys bounce around so much. You know, there's probably a lot of history, even if you are playing interleague play. That
yeah, more than there used to be. But it's still, I mean, the Nats haven't played the Tigers in 3 years. They've played them twice in the last 6 years.
They played them a lot in spring training.
Yeah. Fastball up. Dirks in hack mode, and Tyler keeps pumping strikes. Hey, check out the website if you want to play a little late afternoon hooky tomorrow. Come and join us at 4:05. Good pitching matchup. Dan Herron and Doug Fister. And the Cubs are in for the weekend. Nationals.com for all your ticket info. 34,893 did that tonight. So close on 2-2.
Great changeup from Tyler Clippard. Better take from Andy Dirks. I don't know how he laid off that pitch. Watch him ID this change. Look at the sequence. Up and away, everything.
3-2 pitch now. Up by 2. We'll see if he attacks. He did with a fastball, and that would have been ball 4, but Dirks, as mentioned, in swing mode. You saw the pitch track. Not one single pitch in this at bat has been inside the box. Suzuki comes out. Ian Desmond wants to know what's going on.
They're saying, look at the pitch track. Everything's up and away in the whole sequence. It's exactly what they were talking about.
Well, Tyler keeps pitching like this. He can go to MBUSA.com and drive a Mercedes because he has been pretty good lately. 3-2 again. That's a pretty good at bat by Andy Dirks. That'll bring the tying run into the batter's box with 2 outs. By the way, the Nats bullpen over the last 20 games, ERA 2.03. Overall on the season, 3.53. And in case you hadn't noticed, the National staff ERA of 3.53 coming in, tied for 3rd in the league entering today with Cincinnati. And the Reds gave up a bunch of runs to the Braves today. First pitch change up to Johnny Peralta, who's never faced Clippard.
Interesting up by 2 that Kurt Suzuki went out to the mound, and he and Tyler Clippard decided on a 3-2 changeup right there to Andy Dirks.
By the way, this was the 2nd straight time around that the Nats retired Cabrera and Fielder, and then Andy Dirks with 2 outs was able to get on base. Base hit 2 innings ago gave Jordan Zimmerman a long 6th inning. Peralta also single, but then Jordan struck out Alex Avila. So here he takes on Peralta, who's 2 for 3.
And a challenge fastball right down the middle, 93 miles an hour. Peralta late, trying to tie it up with a big swing.
Two and one. Drew Storen. Maybe if somebody else gets aboard here in the 8th. You know that Rafael Soriano's well rested for the 9th. Clippard, 92 miles an hour, strike 2.
And Peralta taking a mighty hack once again. He's got one thing on his mind this at bat. Probably change his game plan here with 2 strikes, but Check out the big swing, just a hair late, but that's an uppercut, and he's trying to hit one into his bullpen.
This guy's had a bunch of 20 home run plus seasons in his career. He's hit just 2 this year.
You got to stay with the heat, don't you?
You would think. Don't want to get too tricky when you're up by 2. That's too high to bait him into swinging. So Andy Dirks will get a head start at first base. Adam LaRoche walks off the bag to tell Clippard about it. And he'll back up at first with the catcher Avila on deck. Top of the 8th, 3-1 Washington. Change up. Oh my goodness, where was it? Tyler Clippard can't believe that was called ball 4. 2 on, 2 out with a pair of walks.
I think sometimes with Tyler Clippard and that changeup, it locks up hitters to where they can't even get off a swing. It's so good. Pitch track had it inside. Tyler Clippard, you see the body language, wanted it.
Steve McCaddy on his way out.
And at times you'll get the swing through strikes when guys are convinced a fastball's coming, but in certain counts, that changeup has to be a strike because it locks guys up so much they can't even fire off a swing. And right there, Tyler Clippard counting on a called third, didn't get it.
So a pair of full count changeups resulting in walks to Dirks and Peralta.
Drew Storn's hot.
Yeah, nobody the Tigers have in the box or coming up immediately has ever faced Drew Storn either. Alex Avila has never faced Tyler Clippard, and he'll bat as the lead run potentially with 2 on, 2 out. Boy, the thing you want to do is get an end to this 8th inning so that in the 9th there's no chance they could recycle around to Cabrera again. Avila 0 for 2 with a walk against Jordan Zimmerman.
If you're thinking about Drew Storn for Omar Infante next, Infante 0 for 10 career against Tyler Clippard.
Yeah, 0 for 4 against Storn, but much more pronounced against this pitcher.
Well, first things first, right?
Yeah. Alex Avila, 4 homers, 6 RBIs on the year. A lot of Tiger fans making some noise here. First pitch, fastball on his hands, way foul. We probably have a different dynamic in this ballpark than anywhere else in baseball, where no matter who you're playing, the potential for a couple of thousand of their fans is there to show up just by coming cross town.
That's because it's a transient city and not a lot of people are from here, but the Nats won the hearts of so many fans last year that people were saying, well, I used to be a Cubs fan, now I'm a Nats fan. I used to be a this fan, now I'm a Nats fan. And it's just going to happen throughout time the longer this team's here and the longer they're good.
Change up floats upstairs 1-1.
Well, they're IDing that change up early right now off of Tyler Clippard. They're seeing it big. They're recognizing it. He's not getting swings on it. And we've seen in the past when Tyler Clippard doesn't get swings on his change up, he has a tendency to get in his head a little bit.
Goes with a fastball. And if you're reading swings, as my partner says, Avila's been late, and the count's 1-2. Long inning for the skipper. Crowd of nearly 35,000. And no matter who they're rooting for, making lots of noise here in the 8th.
And once again, a good changeup on the black. Doesn't get a swing from another Tigers hitter. They're seeing that thing big, and they're seeing it early. Almost like they know it's coming right now from Tyler Clippard.
One of the best jobs in baseball has to be hitting coach for the Tigers. These guys know what they're doing. Lloyd McClendon, the former Pirate skipper, is that man. And there's a fastball upstairs for the strikeout. A marathon of the top of the 8th. 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, and a 2-run lead held on to as Tyler Clippard sets it up for the 9th.
In the game, it's not just a good time, it's Miller time. And why do I always get these reads? Let's go back to the 3rd inning. Denard Span, I called him the DC Flyer right here, triple down the corner, getting it around first base. A little stumble right here, but he keeps his feet, keeps his balance into third base, and probably a little bit gassed after that trip around second. Not a diamond dry in the field tonight, lost his footing. Denard Span with a big triple. Bryce Harper followed with the sac fly to put the Nats on the board here against the Tigers tonight.
There's Joaquin Benoit, longtime Texas Ranger, 35-year-old right-hander, who in 2 years as a Tiger going into the season had pitched in 139 games, had 147 strikeouts, only 39 walks. His career control numbers have been pretty impressive. And this year, 14th game, 17 Ks in 14 innings, and the American League hitting $160 against him. He'll face Desmond Harper and Zimmerman. Ian Desmond 0 for 3 tonight. He's never faced Benoit. Free and easy on that 94 right in there.
Now fastball slider change for Benoit. Fastball averaging 94 miles an hour.
He has been on the DL 9 times in his big league career. Shoulder, elbow, shoulder, shoulder, elbow, shoulder, right labrum. You name it. Between his right elbow and his right shoulder, he's just had about every procedure you can have except Tommy John, which is below the elbow. But he has stuck around for a long time, been in the big league since 01 with Texas. And a 1-1 pitch upstairs. There he is. 10 of 11 in saves on the year, Rafael Soriano, who saved every one of the Nats' 4 wins on the road trip. And actually, he didn't get a save on Sunday, so he saved 3, but came in to nail that one down. Nats were up by 4. But Davey didn't mind doing that because he knew the ball club had an off day on Monday. Didn't know they would also have one on Tuesday. So he's nice and fresh. On a fastball, Desmond fouls it. Well, Bryce Harper, sac fly homer, 2 RBIs tonight. Hit the ball sharply 3 times. But the Nats haven't had a hit since his home run in the 5th inning. Just outside the bag.
And Bryce Harper, no fine or suspension from Major League Baseball for the ejection the other day.
By the way, 3 lucky winners receive a meet and greet with Nats pitcher Gio Gonzalez. It's Masson's meet and greet giveaway. Visit Facebook.com/Masson Nationals. Click on Enter Sweepstakes for your chance to win. Enter once per day.
Yeah, good chance he'll be in a good mood for that.
Yeah, well, we thought 3 people would be enough smiles for Gio to share. That was a changeup that Desmond took. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, for Ian Desmond right here digging in against a guy with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, you're all about that in a 3-2 count. He throws anything else, tip your cap.
Benoit's given up 2 home runs in 14 innings. And a high pop-up short center. Omar Infante. Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield sends $50 to the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Washington, D.C. every time the Nats draw a walk. 91 on the year, $4,500, $50. Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield wants each of us to take that first step towards a healthier and more active lifestyle. Here's Bryce.
Swinging a lot of first pitches the last couple weeks.
Fastball taken.
It was funny, Torrey Hunter was asked about Trout versus Harper. Torrey played with him in Los Angeles last year and the differences between the 2 guys, and he said, you know, one guy runs a little better in Trout. Harper throws a little bit better. But basically they're game changers, 2 young players that obviously going to affect the way the game is played for a long time. Let's see Bryce Harper's 10th home run of the year once again. First pitch curveball. Anibal Sanchez right out over the plate, almost like he sat on it, rode it out of here to right center field. But it's 6-7 rows deep.
Yeah. At that end of the scoreboard, it's about 385. So that was a 400-foot shot easily. Fastball taken. 2 balls, 2 strikes. How many times we've seen Bryce, a second-year guy, taking borderline pitches out of the zone on 2 strikes. 7 of his 10 home runs here. 14 of his 20 runs batted in. Change up right off the top of the barrel.
Jim Leland, a guy that appreciates young talent, talking highly of Bryce Harper and probably roots for him after tomorrow.
High in the air and heading out of play, left side.
Last couple of changeups to Bryce Harper have been up on the outer half, but if he gets one of those out over the plate, he's seen it big.
Two. Foul tipped it into the mitt of Avila. 2 outs.
Well, that was by design. You saw Avila right there raise his glove over his mask. They wanted an elevated fastball right here at 95, and they got it. Good pitch right where he wanted it. Harper just underneath it. Fouled it into the glove.
Beautiful Exmo from Verizon Fios. And here comes Ryan Zimmerman, who's never hit against Benoit. 0 for 3 tonight. Fly ball to left and a pair of strikeouts.
You kind of see the pattern that Benoit's getting into, pitching backwards. You'll see that a lot in the American League. What I mean by that is off-speed and fastball counts, fastballs and off-speed counts. He got behind to Bryce Harper. He went to the changeup, got behind to Ryan Zimmerman, went to the slider.
Adam LaRoche, if the inning continues, and Adams had a good night. 2 for 3, a run scored. A base running play that changed this game. Fastball up and away. 3-1. Way LaRoche is swinging. You'd love to see Zimmerman get aboard and extend this bottom of the 8th.
Threw a 3-2 slider to Ian Desmond, and he popped up. See if he goes with the 95 here in a 3-1 count to Ryan Zimmerman.
He does. It had just enough tail on it to get up near Ryan's trademark, and the count's 3-2. Two outs, bases empty, bottom of the 8th. Tigers, by the way, have 8, 9, and 1 due up against Soriano in the 9th. Benoit working slowly. He's got the first 2 and a payoff pitch here. Zimmerman late for another fastball. This one right down near the barrier and unreachable for Torrey Hunter.
Oh, handshake. Congratulations. Congratulations. You got a souvenir. It's pretty cool. He shake my hand in Boston last year.
Well, it was kind of hard to do that while you were standing in the booth with both of your hands in the air in triumph. You were in the moment, and I didn't want to be any part of that. Got to be honest here.
Yeah, I was digging myself.
You were feeling it.
I was definitely digging myself.
3-2 pitch. Another fastball, another foul over that way. Quite a battle.
Went to the 3-2 change right there at 84.
So pitch number 9 coming shortly.
I don't know if I've ever seen anybody rub up a ball more than Benoit has this inning. Every new one he gets back, he's out there for a good minute, rubbing up that baseball to get a good grip on it.
Zimmerman slaps another foul.
Another changeup. And a new baseball once again. Get some of that Mississippi mud off there. Get a good feel for it.
I mean, he looks like he's grinding right there. Squeezing the sawdust out of that thing.
He's trying to rub the seams right off the baseball in the commissioner's name, too.
On a hard slider down and away, maybe a cut fastball, strikes out Zimmerman. 1-2-3-8. So here comes Soriano looking to nail it down.
Old Spice in it, so shampoo with cologne. Let's go back to Tyler Clippard and the 3-pitch strikeout to Prince Fielder. 93 miles an hour right there. Then he goes a little 93 elevated, and probably the best changeup we've seen from Clippard this year. A 3-pitch see-ya to Prince Fielder. Nicely done by Tyler Clippard. Some shampoo with some cologne in it. I like it. Nice.
Top of the 9th inning. Here's some Old Spice for you as a reliever. Rafael Soriano, at the age of 33, pitching as well as he has any time during his career. Now, some of the Tigers have seen him, obviously, last year, some other years in the American League, Tampa Bay, Seattle, Yankees, and it'll be Omar Infante leading off. And then it looks like their DH, Victor Martinez. Then the top of the order, Austin Jackson. Nats on top by 2, 3 outs to get. There's Martinez. Then Omar Infante career 1 for 2 against Rafael Soriano, who is 10 out of 11 in save opportunities this year. Infante 0 for 3 tonight and 92 right in there. That is right on the edge. Strike 2.
Yeah, 92 on the fastball. His fastball's been averaging 90 miles an hour this year, but well placed. Hit a spot, Soriano right here. Suzuki setting up outside. Didn't really have to move the glove.
Mercedes-Benz on the pitch track. And a breaking ball that hung up a little bit, but Roger Bernardina is there to make the grab. Man, that was a tough one to read. Roger hit the ball, hit the ground hard. Fantastic play.
That guy's digging it. Soriano's digging it, and I think the lights might have been a factor here for Roger Bernardina. Watch the hesitation step right about there, and then he sees the ball again. Low line drives at night get caught in the light banks. Worst feeling in the world for an outfielder. It's just as bad as lose it in the sun. If you don't panic, it'll come out, and that's exactly what happened, I think, to Roger Bernardina right there. You saw that little stutter step. Ball came out. Nice play.
34-year-old switch hitting DH, Victor Martinez. He goes up hacking. Martinez hitting an uncharacteristic .220 with 1 home run. First pinch hitting appearance of the year. This guy's a lifetime .303 hitter in 10 years with the Indians, Red Sox, and Tigers. Didn't play last year because of surgery to his left knee before the season. Fastball rides high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Two years ago, Martinez even hitting only 12 home runs, drove in 103 for the Tigers. 40 doubles. And he's 0 for 3 career against Soriano. Make it 0 for 4. There's a shark in left field. 2 outs. Top of the order, Austin Jackson.
They're digging it, doing the shark.
Yeah, he's showing them how to do the shark. Okay. Austin Jackson 1 for 4 with a base hit last time up. Nats trying to win their 18th game of the year and first ever against the Detroit Ball Club. Well, he throws strike 1 to everybody. Jackson 1 for 2 career with a double against Soriano. Torrey Hunter on deck. You want the game to end right here. There's the slider for a strike. Great crowd tonight, 34,893 despite the weather. Held on to the fastball too long. Counts even 2-2.
everything off the bat tonight of Austin Jackson has been hard and low to right field. He's been going the other way. Nice.
Fly ball to right. Bryce Harper is homered, and he gets to catch the last out of the game. The Nats beat the Tigers for the first time ever, and they beat Anibal Sanchez for the first time ever.
And Jordan Zimmerman moves to 6-1 with a 1.59 ERA. I know it's early, folks, but that's your leader in the clubhouse for early part of the season, Cy Young candidate. What a job again. I keep shaking my head. The lineups he's going through and the way he's going through them. One of the elite pitchers in baseball, getting the job done. And yeah, untuck it after a hard day's work. Why not?
Well played, beautifully pitched game for the Nats. Enough timely hitting to take care of the Tigers and untuck. The Nats win again, and it's number 11 for Soriano.